Okay, and now I'm going to share my screen. I just have a few slides, literally 3 slides to show you before we get to hear from Sandy Gerber. So allow me just to do a quick introduction. Welcome, everyone. This is our professional communications webinar series, specifically our speaker series for August 2026. And today we're welcoming Sandy Gerber on the topic of connected conversations. If you don't know me, my name is Rick Phillips. I'm the executive director of NCCA Canada and a communication coach and trainer myself. Just a little bit about Sandy before we start. You can see by the advertisement, if you caught our advertisement online, or if you're already familiar with Sandy, you know she's got an amazing skill set. And you can see here, even just a couple of things. She's a communication coach, an EQ trainer, awarded author, podcast host, TEDx speaker. And with NCC Canada, we're very happy to have her as a member, not only as a general member, as a designated coach and trainer. We are thrilled to have her. She's an author of wonderful books. She's really, really busy lady. We are thrilled to have her to donate her time to help you, our guests. And I have nothing but good things to say about Sandy and her. She was a guest before at one of our events previously for NCC Canada, and she always gets rave reviews. So we're very, very thrilled to have her back, and I'm going to beg her to come back again in the fall. So for those of you that may not know a little bit about NCC Canada, allow me one page, one slide to introduce. It's the National Communication Coaching Association of Canada. It's a nonprofit home for Canadian communication coaches and trainers like myself, like Sandy, and this was established in 2016. Our idea is to promote professional standards, offering communication coach certification and designation for those in that profession, as well as professional development and networking events, both in person and online, like today's webinar, which are open to anyone. We do attract small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that want to improve their business communication skills who are not coaches and trainers. You don't have to be a coach or trainer to take advantage of our offerings. So if you have found us one way or another, I thank you. You can always check out our events at our events page, and our social media is X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And that's it. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to turn it over to Sandy. Sandy, please take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. I see some familiar faces. It's awesome to see you. Let me pull up my mic here. Please go into chat and just tell me where you're coming from. What would be helpful for me is to know what you're hoping to get out of this, why you're joining, and maybe, potentially someone in your life that you're having a difficult conversation with. Like, who is it? Doesn't have to be the name, just is it a coworker? Is it a loved one? That gives me some ideas on how to share best with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here and we'll get started. I'm excited. So let's see if you go ahead and put some comments in there. We've got some comments coming in. Hi, Nicole from Scarborough. Excellent. Joining from Oakville. Excited. Yeah, I love it. I can feel your energy, Trish. That's awesome. And a couple more putting comments in there. So most of you have probably heard that on average, it takes about 7 seconds to make a first impression. I see a couple of you nodding. Okay, wait, are you judging me then? Is that what that means? It's okay. We all kind of do it. We're thinking, you're probably looking at me. I'm sitting, but I look tall and blonde. You're thinking she must have been a swimsuit model at some point. Yeah, well, first impressions are powerful. First impressions, when I see someone, I automatically pick out what kind of car they drive. Like I just look at them and I think, let's see, like let's look at here and see. Nicole, let's see, are you Lexus? Lexus?
No, I'm a Kia.
Okay, Kia. All right. So I didn't say I was good at this game, but I do it. Let's see. Okay, I'll do one more. Rick, I should get this right? Rick. Let's see. Okay, a Jeep. No. SUV. You're driving an SUV, right?
No, I grew up surrounded by trucks in the small town, so I prefer the smaller cars in the city.
Oh
Sorry.
no. Okay. I'm gonna stop. But it is a game I play. We all have them. But the thing with first impressions, and also talking about Jeeps, I went to buy a Jeep when my marriage was ending because I had these strong, independent, adventurous vibes going. And yet I drove off the lot in a Ford Escape. Because I think at the time, even my car was signaling something. At the time, I was really living a double life. For those that don't know me, professionally, I look successful. I had, I had an amazing agency. I was winning awards, the clients, sexy office. I was killing it from 9 to 5. But in my personal relationships, I was failing at the most important conversations. I had a failed marriage. I was burnt out. I hadn't even spoken to my friends in weeks. So learning how to communicate, to connect, it became an obsession of mine. I mean, I spent a decade, 10 years, reading everything I could on communication, emotional intelligence. I was driven to find the key to effective communication. And, I kind of ended one night 15 years ago. We've all kind of been here in this Amazon spiral, where you end up going somewhere and then you end up finding yourself somewhere else. I found a book and it was about emotional motivation. And it was from research in the 60s, a book called The Magic Power of Emotional Appeal, if anyone's interested. And it was research that uncovered that people were motivated emotionally by just four things. And I remember I ordered it and I thought, it was a cheesy cover and everything, but I thought, oh, it looked, I'm going to get another book. When it came to my house, the kids were asleep. I was a single mom at the time. I poured a glass of wine. I was ready to just skim the book. And what I realized is that I quickly looked up and I hadn't even touched my wine and I had devoured the whole book. What I learned in that book was that the research was saying that, as I said, people are motivated by just four things. And if we are able to be aware of that and craft our messages, they're more likely to connect and be motivated to listen and act. So this became, so interesting for me to understand why I was making the choices I had in my life. And this wasn't really personality types or love languages. It was really, what's the fuel behind communication? Now, most of you have heard I'm a speaker and I go around North America and I train people in communication skills. But what you might not know is that I wasn't always comfortable meeting people. Like I would go to a room like this photo and I would be nauseous. Like I'd feel so uncomfortable walking into that room. I felt like everyone was so much more successful than me. I would find myself hiding in the bathroom. It's like very hard to nurture leads from inside a stall. But, when I found out this information, this emotional motivation information, it changed everything. I was now going to events and I was like a detective. I was the person that was walking in and instead of thinking, what do I say to these people? I was thinking, what can I learn about these people? And that made me want to ask interesting questions. It shifted my mindset to be more about connection. I would have these memorable conversations. And before I knew it, my network started to grow. Using the choices and tools that I'm going to share with you today, my business grew from the corner of my bedroom to a top 100 fastest growing company. I used it to connect better, have connected conversations, as I call them, with my team, with my clients, with new prospective clients. I even used this information on my first date with my now hot husband of 12 years. Okay, he's not now hot. He's always been hot, in my opinion. But it was so amazing that I saw this transformation in my personal life and my professional life. I was so blown away by it. I had to write a book about it. That became emotional magnetism. And, I'm just delighted because readers will say to me, Sandy, this saved my marriage. This, is helping me sell better. It's helping me be a better leader, parent, and friend. So this became my mission. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm happy to share this with all of you as well. The more motivators, I'm not going to go into detail today. I have in previous sessions with NCCA, but I have tools specifically today to help you have those difficult conversations with more ease and to really help yourself to be heard and understood. So in a nutshell, I'll share what I discovered. It is that if you really want to connect with someone, you want to have a connected conversation with anyone, anywhere, work, home, wherever, it's not your everyday communication choices that you need to change. It's not your communication skills where you need to start. It's your relationship with yourself. Because the relationship you have with yourself is the relationship you're having with everyone else. It's the conversation that's coming from your mind out of your mouth. So when you really understand yourself, you can connect with anyone. So today we're going to have an experience. I'm not going to give you a list of tips. I'm going to give you three choices that you can make. First choice is to be aware to be aware. And these are really the three stages of what I call the three stages of emotional intelligence to get you to have connected conversations. So the first is awareness. That means being aware of what's happening inside of you before you even speak to someone. The second choice is how, to know how you're expressing yourself verbally and non-verbally, how people are receiving your content and what they actually need to hear from you. And the third is to say something persuasive enough to move someone to act, to get them to be able to maintain that connection, especially when it's hard. And that's where difficult conversations come in. And when you use curiosity and emotional intelligence, what I'll call EQ, to make these three choices, you don't just communicate better, you become magnetic. So I want to start right now with you. I want to understand, and in chat or with your reactions, I want to get a sense of who's with me here. So if you can find reactions, the little heart-shaped icon at the bottom, and find a fun emoji if any of this relates to you. I always am so curious who finds what emoji. I want to get a sense. So how many of you by reaction have learned to improve your communication skills by taking formal communication skills training? Let me see that. How many reactions do we have? Who's had formal communication skills training? Okay, so we've got some thumbs up. We've got some happy faces. Thank you. Okay, excellent. And for the rest of you, how many of you have improved your communication by reading a book or listening to a podcast? Let's see some of those reactions. Who here has improved your communication skills by doing that? Okay, yeah. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you, Trish. Yes, perfect. Okay, and last question for you. Find an emoji if you've learned to improve your communication skills from making mistakes or after your divorce. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we got a heart there. Okay, yeah. So most people smile when I say that because it's so true. Like what's amazing is most of us, we've learned to communicate by failing at it, right? Like many of us have not had formal communication skills training, and it's showing up at work and at home. Like maybe you're finding it hard to get your family to do what you're asking them to do. Hello, teenagers. Or maybe you're finding that at work, costly mistakes are happening because you're not able to collaborate or to diffuse some heated situations. And I want you to know that you're not alone. Gartner research found that 70% of a company's mistakes are due to poor communication. 70%. And this is not only a skills gap, this is the first time in history that we have 5 generations working together in the workforce. And we speak differently depending on our age. Like one of my young assistants asked me out for break because they had some great tea for me. And I'm like, ooh, I'm such a tea drinker. I love my tea. So I was thinking, is she going to bring me oolong or what was it? I quickly realized that the tea that she was referring to was company gossip. So I didn't get my oolong. I didn't get that. I did find out our supplier, Chuck, was having an affair, but that's a totally different conversation. So the thing is that we're all getting so many messages, right? We're communicating a ton, right? And there's so much communication going on, but communicating a lot, it's not the same thing as communicating successfully, actually connecting with people. You can speak to someone every single day and still communicate badly. Anyone married? So you can find that sometimes it's a bit of a challenge. Yeah, we're not sure if we should put our hand up on that one or not, right? It's okay. So what actually changes things is 2 things, 2 ingredients, and that's curiosity and emotional intelligence. And curiosity is a tool, and it's a choice that you're already making. Like some of you are curious because you registered and came here, so you're already showing up curious. Maybe you're curious when you read my bio or heard about me, or curious about NCCA. Maybe you stopped being curious when you found out I drive a Ford. It's okay. It's okay. We're still here. So we're here. So let's get to work. Okay. So the first choice that we need to focus on is being aware. So to create connected conversations with emotionally intelligent communication, we need to look in the last place that most of us think to look, ourselves. Everything that we create in our lives starts in our thoughts. So before we can improve our communication with others, we need to check in on how we're communicating with ourselves. I feel very passionate about this piece because I myself have done tons of work in this regard. We wouldn't say half the things to the people we love that we say to ourselves. Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, they found, and they did this study, that on average, we have 6,200 thoughts a day. 6,200. And so think about that. Like, this is the 6,200 thoughts. 80% of those thoughts are negative. And 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. So we, all of us, you, me, all of us are walking around with this negative mental playlist looping in our mind day in and day out. You're not just having a bad day. You're on a playlist on repeat that you didn't choose. And that playlist I call your thought flow. And it's running 24 hours a day, even when you sleep. So I'm going to share a quick tool, an emotional intelligence tool that will help you with looking at your negative thought flow and reducing it a bit to shift those loops. And it's called reframing. Reframing is when you take something familiar, something like that you think you already know, like this spoon, and you ask yourself, what else could this be? It's the same strategy that we use in powerful communication when we pause and we get curious instead of reacting automatically. And the best part is your brain already knows how to do this. So what we're doing is we're waking up the part of our brain called the default mode network, the DMN. And when your default mode network is activated, you become a better communicator, you become a better leader, and you are a faster learner. So let's literally activate your DMN right now. What we're going to do is we're going to use this spoon. So what I'm going to ask you to do is pull out your phone, and this is how it works. There's a QR code there, or you can go to slido.com. It's not going to ask you to fill out a registration or anything. And you just put in that code. And what I want you to do is I want you to answer the question, what else could this spoon be? See, the thing is, it's an object, but not a spoon. It can be anything. I want you to be silly or serious or just make it up. Because what we're doing is we're activating that part of your brain that does creative problem solving, that can shift the way you're thinking. And just be curious. Let go of needing to be right. Some people are starting to type, yes, a mini shovel. Of course it is, right? That's what it is. And let's see what these other things could be. And let's just keep putting answers in to see how creative we can be when we reframe. It's not a spoon, it's blank. And let's take a look and see what that is. A musical instrument. Of course it could be. Yeah, I love these. It's probably one of my favorite parts of this because we used to play this game with my family when we were young, right? We called it the imagination game. My mom was a psychologist. I didn't know she was doing this on purpose, but for us to learn. But these are the things that it could be, right? So you can start using your mind. Now, this is not just fun, it's neuroscience. What we're doing is you can reframe a spoon, you can reframe a conversation, a stressful moment. You can reframe a conversation and how you're speaking to yourself. Two musical instruments. We got a lot of musical instruments on the spoons. Well, technically, a spoon is a musical instrument. My dad taught me how to play those. Could be a mirror. Yeah. I was asking my husband, what do you think it could be? And he said, a baseball cap. Like it could be. So when you start thinking about different shapes, this is the point. I want you to know that you can train your thought flow, that you're literally, by doing this exercise, rewiring your thought flow to be more flexible, more open, and adaptive. And that's exactly what leaders and communicators need to do in today's world. Thank you for playing. There's a couple more people typing. I want to see what they are before I move off. So curious. There's a medicine appliance. Okay, I like that too. I had one where my dad got up on a chair and he pretended to dive into the swimming pool with the spoon. Pretty funny. So this is the point. You can reframe your thinking. Now, quick show of hands or emojis. If you've had any EQ training, emotional intelligence training, read a book on it, or you've caught a podcast, who here is familiar with emotional intelligence? Can you let me know by reaction? Okay, we've got some people. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Rick. Awesome. So how many, oh, okay, great. A couple more. Perfect. Thank you. And how many of you have, let's put it this way, you've said something, immediately wished to change what you said, and a few hours later knew exactly what to say? How many of you have had that experience? Show me with your reactions. Because that's actually emotional intelligence. Thank you, Trish. Yes, thank you, Ginger. Yes, Heather, right? So now we're like, yeah, we know exactly what to say. It usually comes in like the car or the shower or hours later, right? That's emotional intelligence trying to happen. So today I'm going to show you how to catch it sooner. When people hear that I teach emotional intelligence, they kind of get this look on their face, like I'm going to dim the lights, I'm going to pass out Kleenex, and it's going to get woo woo. It's not that. Emotional intelligence is just you with a switch. It's your ability to notice, to understand, and to manage your emotions and the emotions of others. So every conversation, every email, every bit of self-talk, you're flipping that switch on or off. And when it's on, everything works better. So I want to share with you early in my career, I was invited to speak at a board meeting and I was so nervous and I was given 10 minutes, 3 slides. And I had rehearsed for days. And this was like, I called my mom, Mom, I'm going to present to the board. It was one of those moments. And the moment I started, I was ready. I gave my presentation. Couple minutes in, the CFO cut me off and jumped in and said, what about this? And what about this? What about this? And I panicked. And I did probably the worst thing that I could ever do in that situation. I just started making up answers. You should not do that. I'm telling you right now. I just wanted it to end. We've all been in that room, the one where you had to hold it together and speak up and try not to cry and you didn't want them to see you sweat all at the same time, right? And I left that meeting and I did cry in the car and it wasn't pretty. But what I didn't have then that I have now is a tool that I'm going to share with you, and it's called the EQ switch. And it's a tool to help you regulate yourself before you fall apart, right? So this is a tool that is 3 steps. It's backed by neuroscience. And I use it every day. And I also use it before I walk on a stage in front of hundreds or thousands. I used it before I came in here to regulate myself so I didn't have self-talk ruining my day, and so you can use this, pull it out of your pocket and use it right away. So let me take you through it. The first step is to locate what you're feeling. Now, people go, what? What do you mean? We have to locate the feeling in our body because most of us try to think our way out of emotions, but our emotions, they start in the body, not the mind. Before they even register in the mind, they're showing up in your body. So when you pay attention to where that feeling is, it's in your jaw, it's in your hands, it's in your chest, that brings you into the present moment instead of the what ifs and how dare theys. So you want to locate that feeling. That's just step one. Find out where you're feeling it. We all feel it. The second is to name it. And this is the part that's backed by neuroscience. When you name your feeling by saying, I feel blank, neuroscientists at UCLA, they call this affect labeling. And so they prove that when you name your emotion by saying, I feel blank, your amygdala, so your brain's panic button, that activity reduces by 50% just by naming your emotion. So imagine that you are calming your body down by saying to yourself, I feel whatever you're feeling, literally calming your body down. Your brain hears you and your body follows. The third step is to take a breath, and not just any breath, it's a specific breath. We've all been told to breathe and pause, but I just always found that in those moments, you're not going to break into box breathing in the middle of an argument, and you're not going to have a big breath because it will sound like a sigh and you're in another whole argument. So this is a 7-second breath, and it's the EQ breath. It's 3 seconds in through your nose and 4 seconds out through your mouth. So I want you to do it with me. Okay. So we'll just do it now. 3 seconds in through your nose quietly and 4 seconds out through your mouth quietly. That's it. 7 seconds. Nobody around you has to know you're doing it. And what happens is that 7-second gap, that's the gap between impulse and response. That's where real leadership and connection lives. And in that 7 seconds, you choose your words. So in the boardroom, if we go back to that example and I walk through the EQ switch, when the CFO cut me off, I would have used the switch. I would have done step one. I would have noticed, oh, it's in my belly. I always get red in the face. I have a hot face. Step one, locate. Step two, I would have named my emotion. I felt frustrated. I felt embarrassed. I felt shame. And then I would have done step three. I would have taken a 7-second breath, chosen my words, and turned to him and said, great question. Let me get back to you. 8 words, and I would have left that meeting with my dignity. So that's the EQ switch. Locate, name, and breathe. It's 3 steps. And the more you use it, the faster it gets. I love that no one knows that you're doing it. And remember, the relationship you have with yourself is the conversation you're having with everyone else. Very powerful tool. All right. So the second choice. Are we having fun? I want to see some emojis and reactions in the chat area. So I know that you're enjoying. Perfect. There's some hearts. Okay, yay. Thumbs up. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So the second choice that we have to thank you very much for those. It does matter to me. The second choice to be more emotionally intelligent, to have connected conversations, is to express yourself. And we need to understand that what you are communicating, how you're dealing with difficult people, and how you can actually communicate so that you feel heard, right? Without making someone defensive. This is the trick. So let's hear from you first. I want to know what's stopping you from expressing yourself successfully. Can you tell me what is something, when you feel like you're not able to have those conversations, the necessary conversations, or you're not being heard properly? Let's hear from you. What's stopping you from expressing yourself successfully? Yeah, fear of looking stupid, for sure. That does happen all the time. We're worried about judgment, right? And the right words, not finding the right words. That's right, Nicole, thank you. And fear of an angry reaction. Yes, like that people might blow up at us, right? And yeah, it can be painful. It can be difficult because it can be painful for both of you, right? Rick says like it could be we're feeling sad about or upset about what we're going to share, and also we're worried about how it's going to land, right? So, and truth can be painful. So thank you for sharing those, because the thing is, when we choose to express ourselves, we need to have a mindset shift. And I want to help you with that today, because there's, for me, this wasn't just something I pulled out of a book. These are learned tools from experience that worked for me. I found after all that decade of reading, yeah, I got some great tools, but I didn't have any that I could pull out of my pocket and use in that moment. These are the ones that you can use for that moment. So excellent. So let's move forward. Thank you for that feedback. One thing that you need to realize is that people are talking to you all the time before they even say a word. I call them connection cues. And once you know how to read them, you can't unsee them. Now, Mark Bowden, who's the #1 in body language expert in the world, is part of NCCA and is a mentor for sure. I look at him with such high esteem because he has such interesting philosophies and tools that he shares. But I'll share a couple in the sense that I want you to pay attention to expression here. So, in the first 4 minutes of meeting someone, our nonverbal accounts for more than half of all contact. And the secret that most people don't know is that you can pick up what someone's feeling and not saying with their body language, because our nonverbal connection cues, they happen instinctively, not even consciously. So you and me and us, all of us, are giving and receiving these strong signals with our gestures, with our expressions, and our hand positions. And these signals, they can put people at ease, they can build trust, and like a magnet, they can attract people towards you, or they can repel people from you. They can cause confusion, and they can undermine what you're trying to say. So in some cases, if you're saying one thing and your body language is saying something else, your listener's going to feel like you can't be believed or trusted. So I'm sure you've had that experience where you've asked someone, "Hey, are you okay?" And they turn around and they say, "I'm fine." And you're like, "I don't believe you." The body language trumps the words. So the way we look, listen, move, and react, it's telling our listener whether we care, whether we're listening, and most importantly, if you can be trusted. So I want you to just ask yourself, are you watching and listening for connection cues at work and at home? How people are responding to your content? Because we're always communicating how we're feeling. Let me show you a quick example. So if you would in mind, this is, let's put your hands up like a peace sign. Everybody put up your hands like a peace sign. Perfect, thank you. And then put your fingers together, put them up the side of your face, and put your thumb under your chin. Okay, so this is one you see often in meetings. You're so wonderful, you can put your hands down. Thanks for playing. The thing that's interesting about this is ask yourself, when you see this in Zoom or with someone you're chatting with, maybe they're bored, maybe they're really thinking about what you have to say. What's interesting about any type of hand around the mouth, around the face, they typically call it face blocking. With this particular cue, now remember, it's just a cue, but with this particular cue, it's most likely that your listener is checked out. They're doing this, but they're thinking, kill me. I want out of this conversation. And so basically, they're doing this to be polite. So what you want to do is be aware when you're talking, look and see how are people responding to your content. That's a part of expression. Is it landing? Is their face like this? Are their hands over their mouth covering what they were thinking? Because that actually is suppressing negative thoughts. Anything around the face, you want to stop talking and you want to ask a question. Hey, I'm just checking in. Is this content landing with you? Do you have any questions for me? Because the whole goal is to keep that connection. So paying attention to not telling you to be a body language expert, just looking at how are people responding to what you're saying. Look and see. Like one gesture, of course, is just one cue, right? But when you start to pay attention to these, this is data. This gives you information on when you should pause, when you should push, when you should change course entirely. So be curious and look. Is their posture open or is it closed? Are their hands by their side confidently or are they fidgeting? Are their feet pointed at the door because they want to escape your conversation? By the way, that's a real thing. Watch where people's toes and feet are pointed because that's subconsciously where they want to go. So everyone's like, when I do those at live events, people are like, I'm going to be looking at everybody's feet from now on. It's fun. So the key here is to be curious. Be curious about how your content is landing, and then you can quickly pivot in your conversations. This is also one of my favorite cues, so I always put it in every presentation. It's called the power of E. If you have maybe you're a little anxious like I was years ago walking into a room full of people, maybe you have a resting cranky face. If you are, then if you're on the low digit of the resting cranky face or you're on the high range, that I'll tell you, this is a powerful tool. So I shared this trick with the CEO of a big, big company, and his family started asking him why he was all of a sudden so much happier. They thought he was having an affair or something. It was hilarious. But walk into a room and you're going to pretend like you're saying the letter E. Just pretend. Don't actually say it. That would be weird. But just let's everybody just shape your face like you're saying E. I want to see you in the cameras here. Let's see. Yeah, good job, Nicole. Way to go, Ginger. Nice, Rick. So this is what happens is you actually end up looking more approachable, friendly, and most importantly, trustworthy. So thank you for flashing your E. This is something you can do when you're walking into any situation. It makes you appear more confident and people come to you. And for those of you that are thinking, come on, Sandy, I'm not going to say E to myself. That's stupid. Well, think money then, because that's what you're going to start attracting. So lastly, build an immediate rapport in a conversation. You can look at how someone's, gesturing, positioning themselves, and you can mirror them. So you can, if they have their arms crossed, you cross your arms. If their tone is low, lower your tone. This creates a subconscious connection that we're similar and we like people who are like us. So it's fascinating stuff. I love this stuff. There's some interesting content on Mark's YouTube about the truth plane that he shares. And also I have some really short episodes on my magnetic communication podcast. Mirroring gets a person to trust you. Delivery gets them to remember what you said. And so here's a tool to help you say what you feel without making someone defensive. It's called the honest sandwich. And this is a great EQ tool that you can use for setting boundaries and having tough or necessary conversations. And again, it's a quick tool. So you're using a framework in your mind that you can pull out to keep you structured in a difficult conversation. Many of the comments that you made about why you have difficulty expressing yourself had to do with, you're in an emotional state as well as fear of how it's going to land. This gives you a structure. Many of us don't just rip on a difficult conversation. We think about it. We plan it. Here's the best way to plan it. Most of us were taught or weren't taught how to manage our emotions, right? So we will typically ignore them, we'll bottle them up, or we'll throw cards at them, right? I know I do. So when we were kids, if you were sad, they'd say, here's a cookie. If you were mad, they'd tell you to go to your room. If you were excited, they'd tell you to calm down. And because of that, it's not intuitive for us to know and share how we feel. So when someone upsets us, we either blow up or we shut down. And there's no cookie. So it's no wonder that many of us don't know what to do with emotions when they show up at work, at home, in a relationship. So when we finally muster up the courage, we've been planning what we're going to say. Now's the time. We're ready to share how we feel. Many of us start with this phrase, to be honest. And I'm just going to tell you, stop saying that. Like, stop saying that right away. Because what it's doing is it's making the other person feel like you're calling them out. Or worse, your listener's now thinking, wait, wasn't everything you just said honest? And now they wonder if any of what you said is honest. So to be really honest, you have to start with your feelings and use the honest sandwich tool to do that. It's simple. It's 3 steps. Excellent, Nicole. I'm so happy that you've just started doing that. That's amazing. And you can notice the difference, right? Big difference. Excellent. Love it. So here's how it works. Think of it as a lot of my clients say FNF, feel, need, forward. So first you're going to start with what you feel. And there's tons of books on this. It's grounded in psychology. Start with how you feel. But what I love about starting with what you feel, when you start the conversation by naming how you feel your emotion, I already showed you with the EQ switch, it calms you down, your amygdala activity. But saying what you feel also helps others see the humanity, not just your reaction. And so very often they will not get defensive because it's about you, not about them. I feel frustrated. I feel unappreciated. Then what you're going to do is you're going to express what you need. I need to feel included. I need clearer communication, whatever it is. Naming what you need, I want you to know it's not demanding, it's directing. What you're saying is, you're not saying, here's what you did wrong. You're saying, here's what I need to do better. It's a totally different shift. And that small difference builds respect and collaboration. And the last part of the sandwich is to say what you'd like to have happen next. So moving forward, what's going to be different, right? Sharing what you want to have happen next, that keeps the conversation moving forward. It's not backwards into blame. We spiral in a lot of these conversations. So feel, need, forward. Think of it that way. It's honest, it's direct and calm. So let me show you an example. Let's say your manager keeps adding to your workload without adjusting priorities. So instead of staying quiet or venting later, you could use the honest sandwich. And here's what you could say. Take a read of that. So what you're doing is you're sharing, I feel overwhelmed. I need clarity going forward. Let's have a meeting. So you're actually using a structure. There's no drama. It's just facts and feelings expressed in a respectful way. And because of that, they don't get defensive. It's not about them. Oh, I got hearts on that one. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, it really makes a big difference. You can see the structure of this while also maintaining your emotions. You're not getting extra emotional because you have this framework to work within. You can also use an honest sandwich at home. This is where you may be even more emotional. There could be some people I say like to collect evidence. I'm going to think about all the things I'm going to say in this case, and then I'm going to present it to you. Well, I had someone that was like, okay, back in 1989, you did this. It's like, okay, wait, let's just move the conversation forward. So here's what I feel. Here's what I need going forward. So let's say at home, your partner's been distant, or a friend's been avoiding plans or canceling them. And you've been thinking about what to say so it won't turn into a fight. So let's take a look at how we could use the honest sandwich for that. Go ahead and read that. So what we've done here is use the honest sandwich. The first 3, I feel disconnected and anxious. I need to understand. It's not like, here's what you did wrong. It's, I need to understand. And going forward, can we set some time together to share how we're feeling? So that is the feel, need, forward way that you can do it for a personal conversation. And also some people say, Sandy, what if they're getting really animated, really upset? Well, then you can use it quickly too. I feel overwhelmed. I need space. Let's talk later. Right? You're still doing the same thing, but you're sharing how you feel. When you do this, you're being honest and emotionally intelligent. And, they don't just solve problems, these honest sandwiches. They build trust. They show self-respect, and they teach other people how you want to be treated. And every time you use this tool, you strengthen your EQ because you're naming what you feel, you're expressing it clearly, and you're guiding that conversation forward. And it keeps you from leading with the most stressful phrase in the entire English language. we need to talk. Like that is another phrase that we need to stop saying. That phrase, like, don't you just even feel your stomach curl a little bit when you hear that phrase? It usually means something's wrong. It never means anything's right. And it doesn't matter who it's from. Like you're being pulled into the principal's office when we're young, or you're going to be broken up with, or something's broken at the house, you know? It doesn't matter who it's from. It has never meant I bought you a puppy, ever, right? Like there's just no way. There's no good news. It's vague, it's heavy. It usually means something's wrong. And most of us were never taught how to talk about what we need without triggering the other person or making it weird. So think of Honest Sandwich as a simple and powerful tool for connection in tough conversations. Feel need forward. And when you model this tool, I'm going to tell you right now, people start using it with you. So saying what you feel helps others understand you and your humanity. Naming what you need gives them the direction, and sharing what you want to have happen next or moving forward moves the conversation forward instead of blame. And if this feels weird, it will. It's a new tool, right? You just got to keep playing with it. But if it feels weird, that's good, because growth always feels awkward before it feels awesome. All right, so our third choice here is to engage, and that's to say something enough persuasively to move them to act and know how to keep that conversation even when it's hard. And this is when listening effectively truly makes a difference. You can calm someone down and get to a solution. So I need two brave people to be willing to be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not going to make it like embarrassing or anything. Couple minutes for the exchange of the audience, and I'll also throw in a personally signed book of mine. So who by reaction would like to participate with me in this quick exercise? All right, we've got Nicole is one, and one other, please. One other volunteer. Maybe someone I haven't heard from before, doesn't already have a copy of my book. Let's see. Any other volunteers? Let's see who else. Okay, Ginger. Perfect. Thank you, Ginger. All right, so we've got Nicole and Ginger. So perfect. So what I'm going to do is, let's say Ginger, you're going to be, or Nicole was first. So Nicole, you're going to be the speaker, and Ginger, you're going to be the listener. And so the speaker, Nicole, you're upset about something, and you're not actually upset, but this is theater, right? So think of something that you'll share with us when I ask you to. And I don't need all the saga, just enough that we understand why you're upset. And Ginger, you're the listener. So your job's to do what most of us do when we're listening, and that's to be not listening. And so you're going to immediately make it about yourself, check your phone, that kind of thing. And we're going to go step by step here, and I'm going to explain each one to the room. So you two are going to bring it to life. So think of it as interpretive communication dance here. So this is called the ears listening framework. And this is 4 moves. And I've trained thousands of people in this in customer service, emergency hotlines, management. It works because of the sequence. You cannot rush this. So we're going to start, first of all, someone's upset about something. And what we do when someone's upset, most of us want to jump in. E stands for encourage. We want to typically talk or fix or reassure. But the first job of listening is not to speak. It's to create a safe space for someone that feels comfortable to share. And the fastest way to do that has nothing to do with words. Remember the connection cues? It's working with your nonverbal to express to people, I'm ready, I'm here, I'm listening. And instead of I'm waiting for my turn to speak. So Nicole, before you speak, Ginger, you're the listener. I want you to, because you're on camera, I want you to show Nicole that you're ready to listen to her. What kind of nonverbal could you do to show her that you're ready to listen? And you can say it verbally if you want to.
Basically, really look at her. Stop, like, phone down.
Yeah.
Not look around.
Yeah.
Feel like who's a more interesting person to talk to in the room.
Good.
Not look at my watch. Just basically really look like you're listening rather than look like I want to get out of here. This is lame.
Excellent. Excellent. That's great. And so other ways too, you can front. So face your torso towards that person. Tilt your head. That's a universal sign of engagement. So you can tilt your head like you're ready to listen. And so Nicole, does that look, her saying those things, will that make you feel comfortable? Yeah, you're nodding.
100%.
Okay, perfect. So then the second thing we do, so that's the first thing we do when someone says, I got to tell you something, make sure that you're encouraging that open space. The second is to ask a question. This is where we get curious. We're not interrogating. We're just asking one open question. Hey, what's bothering you? Tell me what's wrong. And then you stop and you listen. So Ginger, I want you to ask Nicole what's wrong. And then, Nicole, I want you to share with us the problem that's upsetting you. Not a long time, just mindful of time, and enough that we understand what's upsetting you. Okay. And so, Ginger, go ahead and ask one question to Nicole, and let's have us listen.
Hey,
Hey.
I'm might be wrong about this, but is there something wrong?
Yeah, lately I've been struggling with my 23-year-old son who, for whatever reason, says that he knows, but then he doesn't show. So, for example, I've asked him repeatedly to wash his dishes after he finishes using them, and he continues to leave the dishes in the sink.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent example. I'm sorry I'm having to go through that because I've been there that too. It's not a fun
You know
time.
how easy that one came, you know it's true.
That's right. I'm like, oh, I got that. All right. So this is the point where we typically skip the most important part of listening and we jump to a solution. We all want to solve. So, Ginger, what did you hear Nicole say?
I heard that she's really bothered by her son not doing the dishes, and I've been hearing this from my sister recently. Kid's a little younger, but same thing. It's like, and it's not that it's not just that he's not doing the dishes. He's not respecting the rules you've probably set up, so he's not respecting you. And you're thinking, and why do I let him live here?
Okay,
Because
so I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to jump in there because I want to illustrate a point here. And thank you for that. That's awesome. You can tell that she really cares and wants to have the conversation with you, Nicole, right? That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Ginger. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So this is the step that I want to point out that is the most powerful to make someone feel heard. It's also a step to lower conflict immediately and to help people feel understood and heard. And it's R for reflect. Now, most of us were never taught to do this. We move into fix, like I said, but without this step, the conversation feels tense, no matter how good your intentions are. So what almost everyone does, and what Ginger did, is we paraphrase what we hear. We make up words around what they said. And it's not that it's incorrect, it's just that it's not what they said exactly. So what you want to do and reflect is not share your interpretation of what they said. You actually want to share their actual words, their exact words back at them, not yours, theirs. If they said, I felt invisible, you don't say, it sounds like you're frustrated. If you say, if I'm hearing you right, you felt invisible. And reflect is taking what you've heard and reflecting it back and saying, have I got this right? Before you move to solution. This lowers conflict. This gets them on the same page. So that's the difference between someone feeling understood and someone feeling processed. So Nicole, I want you to repeat your issue in a minute. And Ginger, I want you to listen specifically for her words. And I want you to reflect back her words exactly. When I coach people, I tell them to write them down. Actually, write them down in your book. Because when people hear their own words back to them, they feel heard. So let's go ahead again, Nicole, if you could. And Ginger, listening for those words to reflect back. And you can reflect back if I heard you correctly or sounds like. Okay, so go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, I get frustrated when my 23-year-old son says that he knows what to do when it comes to washing his dishes, and I've asked him repeatedly to wash the dishes after he's used them, and he doesn't.
And so now, Ginger?
Oh, if I got this right, I hear that you're really frustrated because your son says that he knows that he should be rinsing his dishes off, but he doesn't do it.
Exactly.
Awesome. So now the question for you, Nicole, did you feel this last version that you were more heard than the previous one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so this is how easy it is. Just if someone's complaining about something or upset about something, use their exact word back and reflect back. Hey, I just want to check in so I understand what's upsetting you. Is this why you're upset? And you use those words and they'll say yes, and they will calm down. It happens immediately. So now you're going from opposing sides to the same team. So this is such a powerful framework for you. It's not about agreeing. It's not about fixing. It's about saying, I heard you. And that's when someone hears their own words, their nervous system settles. The conversation doesn't feel like conflict. It feels like a partnership. So two things can happen. One time the person could say, if I heard you correctly, you're upset about A, B, and C. Is that correct? And they'll say yes, and they'll calm down. Another time you could say the same thing and they'll say, no, you're not listening. And we've all heard that at some point, right? So we will either storm off or do the silent treatment. But what you can do is just go back up to encourage. Oh, I'm sorry, I must have missed something. Can you please tell me what's upsetting you? Then listen for their exact words and reflect them back. Then you'll see them calm down. Oh, so now you're upset about A, B, C, and D. Is that right? Yes, they'll say. And now you're on to a solution. So such a powerful framework to use to mitigate difficult conversations, to make someone feel heard, for you to use it as a framework to keep you balanced in that conversation, especially if things are getting emotional. Such a powerful tool. Thank you for volunteering and supporting this exercise, Nicole and Ginger. Appreciate it. If you can email me, sandy@sandygerber.com, I will send you a signed copy of my book. Thank you. So lastly, I have one more tool to share with you in just a couple minutes, but before I share, I want to ask you to, I've shared reframing, the EQ switch, more than 3. I think I promised 3, Rick, but I just can't stop. So reframing, EQ switch, connection cues, honest sandwich and ears, and I have one more. I'd just like to know by emoji, how many of you have found this valuable? Ah, thank you. That's excellent. I love to hear that because I truly am on a mission. Thank you so much to help people to communicate, to connect. And so I want to give you a gift. First, I'm going to ask you to think about one thing you're taking from today. It could be one of the tools I shared, and you're going to put it into practice. Hold that thought. And I've got a cheat sheet of EQ communication cheat sheet that's free that you can just get downloaded immediately. If you scan that QR code, it's a 2-minute emoji survey, very easy with a little bit of text that you can add in, and you can share what you get from today. What is it, the tool that you're committed to doing? Those words help me reach more people who need this. And I'll share it with Rick as well so he knows the value of this session. And so in exchange, you'll get that immediate download. So let's take 2 minutes here to complete that. And I'll quickly come back with the last one and we'll end right on time. I'm so glad you found the EQ switch useful. That's wonderful. Thanks, Heather. All right, I'm going to move on because I want to make sure you get this last tool because it's super powerful, especially in understanding that our communication doesn't happen live anymore. It happens in writing. And that's where most of us completely fall apart or go sideways. So I want you to show you something. This is a real email. Well, it's composite. But I promise every single one of you has either sent it or received it. So take a quick read of that. Feel need forward. Awesome. Thanks, Trish. All right. So Derek, oh, Derek, buzzword bingo phrases. Yeah. Nice. Love it. So Derek has been waiting 11 days for a response from Sarah, and he's not even sure why. And Sarah is just not responding because she doesn't even know what Derek needs from this email, right? He used 98 words to ask for nothing. 16 of them were pleasantries. And then Derek kind of lost the plot. He's like, let me know your thoughts on what, Derek? Like project, the meeting, life. And I'm not picking on Derek. We're all Derek at some point on a Friday at 4 p.m. when we want to get one more email off our plate. But Derek's inbox is full of silence and he doesn't know why. So let's fix Derek's email right now with a tool that makes his writing more clear. So take a read of this. So you can probably feel the shift just by reading this. It's not magic, it's clear. And it's an acronym to really help you with effectively communicating what you're saying, especially if it's heated or something. If it's been difficult conversations and communication, this is a tool that you can use. So let's go through it. C is basically it spells out the word clear. C is basically cut to the chase, cut to the bottom line. What's the key message? Derek, in this line, I've underlined it, opened with exactly what he needed, the bottom line. So he put your point in the first sentence, make it easy for your reader. It's right there before Sarah even finished the first line. The second is layout. He's created more white space. He's put it in bullets. There's two options. Sarah's brain doesn't have to work to figure out what the choice is. It's right there. E is for edit, for simplicity. He's taken out, circle back, touch base, tough base as he had it, moving forward, bandwidth. All of that is gone. What's left is the important information only. And lastly, he's asked for a response, not thoughts, a real ask, a real deadline. You know, Sarah knows exactly what she's been asked and she needs to decide and we've told her when. And lastly, rereading for confusion or tone, making sure that, you know, if he'd read this, he would have known it was confusing, you know, and so rereading it out loud also grabs any typos and any kind of tone. So think of an email that you've sent, maybe one that hasn't been responded to you, and run it through that clear. Does it cut to the chase in the first line? Is it clear what you're asking? Can someone skim it in 30 seconds? And did you edit out filler? If the answer is no, you know what to do. Go back and rewrite that email. And Derek, poor Derek, he's still waiting for a reply. So before I close, I want you to do one thing. I want you to think of one person that you're going to have a more connected conversation with, someone at work, at home, someone you see every day, but you never really talk to. You have 3 choices now to make that happen. Reframe your thought flow, use the EQ switch, choose to understand that people are expressing through connection cues, and use the honest sandwich to say what you need to confidently. And choose to engage, you know, with ears, write clearly, right? So that you can be understood. Nothing changes unless you do something. You're going to leave this room. Your inbox is going to be full. You know, someone will cut you off in traffic, cut you off in a meeting. But now you know that connection is a choice and only you can make that choice. So this is how the people you lead, the people you love, the person you see in the mirror, this is how you show up for all of them. So please go have a connected conversation. If you'd like to stay connected with me, these are the ways you can do that. I want to thank you, Rick, so much for having me. And thank you all for your engagement and all your special reactions. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Sandy, wonderful, as I knew it would be, but it's always wonderful to hear you speak. And I'm a big fan of tools as well, and I think everybody can play with the tools and try them out, and hopefully they can send you an email and let you know how it's going with them. Sandy, I know about your book Emotional Magnetism, but I also saw in your social media post you've got a new book coming out. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, my new book is called Connected Conversations, and it's on pre-order right now. There's some special bonuses I have for just a short time, and I think we've got almost 200 orders already of the book. So this is more like a fiction, nonfiction book. It's a story, and it's quite a fun read. So yeah, if anyone wants that, connectedconversationsbook.com. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. Send me the link and stuff after, Sandy,
Will
because
do.
I'll put it in my in the YouTube description of the video so people can find you and all that stuff. So
Great, thank you.
thanks everyone. In the interest of time, I'm going to end the meeting. Thanks again, everyone, for showing up. We will try to have more regular webinars and in-person meetings in the Toronto GTA area, or even other provinces, who knows. And we're going to get Sandy back, I'm sure, in the near future. Thanks a lot, Sandy. Thanks
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.